I can fix it.
No, I can't change my mind.
Guys, you're going to break it.
Welcome back to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we review the first volume of a brand new manga each week. My name is Josh Magic Michaels, and today, for the last episode of the year, I'm joined by...
Megan Punch Perrine.
Oh, okay. I like it. And?
Cody Fire Decker.
Whoa.
Not bad.
Not bad. I
Cody,
was expecting to be let down.
Yeah, you actually participated this time.
I participated surprisingly.
Yeah, at the end of the year, it's one time he'll get around to it.
Yeah, it would make sense for the last episode of the year that you would decide to play along.
It's so nice for you to always have your name be relevant to the manga we're reading.
It is sometimes, and then sometimes it's not. I like to, sprinkle it in.
Name 3 times you've sprinkled it in.
The last episode, Josh, the immortal Magic Michaels. You don't remember that?
That's one.
Josh, I did it.
Okay.
Go back, and you'll see plenty of episodes where I do it.
See, I'm like really creative, so I just come up with new ones. So I do it like every other time, pretty much. So the listeners know that, the audience knows that. So they really know which one of us is working hard. But
we're all working pretty hard. I think that's safe to say.
It is safe to say that. It is safe. It'd be better just to say that than say anything else. But hey, to each his own.
Yeah, to each their own. And you know what's my own? I mean, that's not really what I wanted to say. What I meant to say is thank you for watching and listening. It's the last episode of the year, but it's going to be a great episode because we decided to review something that was supposed to fill our Chainsaw Man-shaped hole in all of our hearts, our Pochita-shaped hole. And I don't know if it did that, but today...
It definitely it might have created a hole, a void, if you will.
It might have created a black hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because today we're going to be reviewing Volume 1 of Fire Punch, which was also written by Fujimoto, who wrote and created Chainsaw Man. They're very different series, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. But before that, we got to shout out our new Patreon member.
Yeah!
Yeah, dude.
What's going on?
on. Caston Gloucester. Thank you, Caston and Agachi Reviews, for being our 2 patron members, Patreon patrons, however you say that, or conjugate.
Real oneers.
Yes, real oneers. Thank you guys so much for your support. And look, this is a perfect time to mention that if you want to support the show too, you could do that at patreon.com/volume1pod. Okay, we got lots of different perks and tiers that you can, access over there. And you should, because in 2021, we're getting bigger, we're getting better, we're getting wilder, we're getting weirder, dude. We're going to do all kinds of crazy new shit. I'll say it.
You say shit?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's the one thing you're going to say. Yeah, guys, I mean... If you've been with us since day one,
yes,
we can't even believe at all the support that we get.
Yeah, dude,
just right now, it's amazing, and I can't believe we started this in February. It's been it's been a year, pretty much been a year, and it's exciting to see where this next year will take us in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Volume
2021.
2021.
I'm super excited. We got a lot of cool stuff planned in this episode, but also in 2021. And so thank you guys for watching and listening and continuing to watch and listen. And I guess we should just get into the review today.
Yeah.
Which is Fire Punch. And I don't know whose idea. I think it was collectively all of our ideas.
Sure, it was mine, but sure.
Okay,
no, that doesn't
Cody.
sound
right. Okay.
I gave you a sales pitch on why we should read it.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Okay.
That doesn't sound right to me.
About how it's like a...
It was Cody's idea to read Fire Punch. And Fire Punch is a manga that you recommended to me a long time ago, actually. I think even before Chainsaw Man came out, right?
Yeah, before I knew you even were into anime or manga that much.
Yeah, you recommended it.
We really did not talk about it that much.
Yeah, we talked about, what did we talk about before we talked about
Dumb
anime?
It's like
shit.
what the best kind of candy is, which is Gushers, of course.
Oh,
I love Gushers.
not to be confused with Sour Punch straws. This is Fire Punch.
Oh yeah, they call it Sour Punch. Mm-hmm. Do they really?
Sour Punch
and
straws.
they have spicy candy now for some reason, so, it's probably...
What do you mean?
They have, like, spicy Starbursts.
Spicy start. Oh, I thought you meant in general. Like, I love spicy candy.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
We're not
spicy
gonna-
candy.
We don't have to get into
You
that.
guys
Yeah,
don't like
but,
spice in your life, obviously.
I do, just not in my candy. How about that?
Yeah. How
So
about
the sweetest thing in your life, you don't want a little
spice is
spice?
not sweet.
Spice is for spice and sweet is for sweet. I don't know how else to say it.
Wow, you guys just aren't living.
There's a time and a place for everything, and spice and sweet do not go together. Unless we're talking about some nice barbecue sauce, then we can...
Okay, well, we're not talking about barbecue sauce. We're talking about Fire Punch, Cody. How did you find this manga? How did you come across this tale?
I was recommended this by someone who we don't need to bring up.
Oh, who? Well, you can't just say that and not bring it up.
I feel like I know.
Oh,
It's
do
either
you
one
know-
of two people, yeah.
Yeah. So let's not worry about it.
Are they like a weeb too?
No.
A lot of tales that he's letting slip through. I think I know who it is. I don't even want to venture a guess because I fear it will either hurt him or somehow hurt me. I don't know how I
I think it would actually hurt both of us. So let's move on.
I don't want to do it then.
No.
I want to do it then.
no.
I was recommend this to by someone, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's really dark." They told me the basic premise of it, which I was like, "That sounds metal," and it is extremely metal.
Yeah. It is the most metal thing I think I've ever read before.
I could taste it in my mouth. I could taste the copper.
Yes.
Of the metal.
And you're not having a stroke.
No.
Are you still with us?
Come back to me.
Cody, we have the manga here, so do you want to read the synopsis if it doesn't spoil anything for anybody who doesn't know what Fire Punch is? Again,
does.
written by Fujimoto, who did write and create Chainsaw Man.
I mean, it does spoil the first two chapters.
Yeah.
So, what if we do let's see how far we get, and then you give me like a pat on the nose.
Well, I didn't memorize it.
Megan, don't touch his nose, but go ahead.
Okay.
Not my
Okay,
nose.
I'll read it. You read it, and then I'll hit you in the face. And
Orphan siblings Agni and Luna, like the Ice Witch who cursed their world, are two of the blessed, humans who hold special abilities. However, not all who are blessed are friendly.
However, not all who are blessed are friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, that's a great quote in general, and shenanigans ensue.
Shenanigans ensue. That's my favorite part of the synopsis.
Shenanigans ensue.
I have a lot to say about this series, but before I guess we say too much, I've seen people say, because Chainsaw Man was so good, and I think we all can agree that it's at least in our top. Would you say 10? Would you say 20
It's
manga
my top
series?
3.
What would you say, Megan?
Yeah, I think because I've definitely watched more animes than I've read manga, and this one I want it to keep continuing and keep reading. So I would definitely say it's one of my tops.
Yeah, so of course when the first arc wraps up, you want to find something to fill that hole. And since he created a series prior to Chainsaw Man, you think to yourself, what other better place than his previous work to do that? But I want to say that if you like Chainsaw Man, you might not necessarily like this series.
Although, if you liked the first 3 pages of Chainsaw Man, you'd probably like this series. That's what reading the first couple of, like, the beginning of Chainsaw Man had a very, not as intense, but a similar vibe as far as desperation and survival. And I think that's a theme that this writer likes to go through, is like the will to survive through very rough times. And he likes giving very complicated series deceptively simple names that make you think, oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Fire Punch. Oh, it's like One Punch Man, but he's got fire powers?
No, dude. This
No,
not
dude.
at all, dude.
No, dude.
This series got dark quick. And I wrote one thing down, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it, but at times it's a little too much. At times, as someone who's read a lot of series and seen a lot of things, I thought to myself, someone who can't be fazed by anything. But there were times during the series where I was like, it's a little too far. Let's rein it back in just a little bit.
I guess, honestly, I have like comparisons to what I thought the series reminded me of.
What did it remind you of?
It's like, I wrote, literally before I knew about the ice switch, I wrote, oh, this is like Narnia.
Like Narnia?
That's the ice switch.
Okay, well, maybe,
and she makes it snow, and she's in charge.
And that's it.
And that's it. There's no Aslan. There's no underlying Christianity thing. No, it's not that. It just reminded me of Narnia, and then I said, oh, shit, this is Narnia. No, but it's not.
But it ain't.
No, but it reminded me of, like, it's like Narnia meets, like, Mad Max, meets, like, Waterworld. Wild. That's all I wrote.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's really all those things of like an apocalypse, but with people that have abilities. So it's even scarier because like you can get fucked up, and people that have these powers are more inclined to fuck shit up.
Yeah, and there's it's not superpower. I mean, it's pretty much superpowers, but they call it blessed, which kind of helps deal with any sort of like issues you would have as far as like, so how does that work? What are the consequences? Well, no, that was just a blessing that this person randomly received. So like, even someone can regenerate. The issue is like, where do they get the mass to regenerate from? It can sort of just be, well, it's a blessing, so it doesn't have to follow any like strict physical rules.
Yeah, this series did not remind me of anything else I've ever read before. It does seem like Fujimoto likes to challenge the genre and the form constantly, and he does things that I don't think anybody else, first of all, has ever done or will ever do or has ever thought to do. Yeah. And that works in his favor, and sometimes it doesn't work in his favor. Sometimes he throws things at the wall that don't stick. And sometimes, sometimes they're groundbreaking as far as like storytelling goes. But this series to me was fresh, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is a good story. It is.
So what you're
good.
saying is that you're a pussy.
No, I'm saying Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Chainsaw Man was way better, dude. Chainsaw Man is way better than Fire Punch.
It's more conforming.
This is a
more conforming into the genre. I mean, it's a different story completely, and this is edgy for a reason. Like this is like, it's not. I can totally understand where. Okay, here we go. I can totally understand where you're coming from, because I was reading different things about it too, and there is a divide of people that think it's way too edgy and edgy just to be edgy, and there's another divide that's saying like it's edgy because of the world that they're in. And this really shows like people are fucked up. I love a good apocalypse story that really shows like how fucked up human beings could be when they're in power, and like just like the human mind of being better than someone else just because you have the upper hand. Like this really proves to me that like this is the best apocalypse manga that I've ever read, because it just really goes into that, and I like it.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't say it's edgy. I would say it's raw. And again, you see like the things that people do in here. It's not like that's like humans would never do that.
They have.
That's happening. Worse things are happening right now, and no one cares. So it's not like edgy for, like, that's, you can look, if you look into it, that's happening in a village right now. Way worse, because there's something like thing you can't show that people do all the time.
Sure.
So I like,
and I'm not
like, if they made up like, if humans didn't do stuff like that normally in those situations, I'd be like, oh, whoa, what is this? Edgy for the sake of edgy. But it's like, this is an apocalypse. There's people who have power over people who don't. What happened in those situations? You can look it up right now. What's happening in those situations.
And I guess I should say then that I don't think, I'm not saying that Fire Punch is better than Chainsaw Man. I think I enjoy Chainsaw Man more than Fire Punch, because Chainsaw Man seems like it knows what it is, and it has a clear idea of what it's saying from beginning to end. And Fire Punch, feels a little all over the place. The overarching theme is essentially nihilism, like throughout the entire, at least, first couple of volumes.
Nihilism in its traditional meaning, but I don't know which meaning of nihilism you're using.
I would say in its traditional meaning that like, nothing matters, good and evil, because Agni, who is the, I wouldn't say protagonist or antagonist.
He's the protagonist.
But he's kind of both, though.
He's not. No, you're thinking of hero and villain. A villain can be.
Right.
No, he is the protagonist.
He is the protagonist, but yeah.
He's an anti-hero protagonist.
Yeah. That's a better way to say it. But it's... Yeah.
Well, because nihilism is supposed to be, like, the way it was meant by the guy who came up with it was, it's like, nothing matters, but that doesn't mean that who you are and what you do doesn't matter. Just because things don't have an inherent meaning into it doesn't mean you should just give up, fall to the ground, and die, which is a theme that this goes over. So
literally,
it's called anti-nihilism, which is funny because that's basically what Nietzsche meant by nihilism, which all of his ideas sort of got turned around. Like the Ubermensch is someone who's supposed to like be perfect of mind, body, and spirit. That Ubermensch.
Ubers?
Yes.
She's really latching onto that, Cody. Let her have it, dude.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like Uber drivers.
Okay, I got it. Can you, yes.
So, I don't, seeing people struggle to survive, they're struggling to survive. They're not giving up. I don't see how that would be that, like, it's meaningless to see people want to live.
I guess, I mean, it just seems like when you're seeing this and these things happen, that there is no, good or evil necessarily, that it all kind of doesn't matter. Like, whatever you do, it's not going to really change what's happening kind of thing. He wants to keep living, but, for what? Because even when he, and this is like a spoiler, and I won't say it, but even when he gets to a certain point, it's like, there, he sees something in someone that makes his efforts to that point, up until that point, kind of for nothing. Instead of dancing around
we've gotten completely different vibes from this. So let's go into it, and when it comes up, we'll have that conversation.
Okay, so the story, and this is going to be light, volume 1 spoilers. Will give a clear indication of when we start to get into some more spoilery territory. But as of right now, it's going to be light spoilers for volume 1. I, went a little farther than volume 1 because I had to see where the story was going, because it does kind of become a completely different story at a certain point. But for right now, the story opens with our main character, Agni, and his sister, Luna, who are... I mean, this was the most creative use of this regenerative power that I've seen. And you told me about this before I read it, and that was what kind of hooked me. For someone to use their regenerative abilities to feed their starving village. Crazy.
Just getting his arm chopped off.
I was shooketh. I was laughing so hard when they just pull up and they're like, "Hey, Grandma, we have your food. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to live." And they literally are just eating off these fucking kids.
Yeah, dude.
They're like, "Oh, what do we have on special today? Oh, it's leg meat tonight, baby."
It's
and
that boy arm.
And they're eating themselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's crazy.
My God.
But it does bring up a moral dilemma that, like, if I could regenerate, or you could regenerate, or Cody could regenerate, would you, and you had nothing else to eat, would you eat a scrawny Cody arm with zero muscle on it?
Well, okay, I don't think Mr. wears his shirt at the beach is gonna...
Mr. wears his shirt at the beach?
Yeah.
Mr. wears his shirt at the beach. That must mean he's got a lot of meat on his bones, so he'd make a delicious entree. Yeah. Yeah. Try to come back at me now. Yeah. You're getting a better meal off me, that's all I'm saying, okay? You got a lot more meat to choose from.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Okay,
I flipped it on you, and then you got a little
You did not flip it. I mean, you're just lying.
Would you eat human?
In that situation, yeah. Because also, I mean, this is it's less of a moral issue than like people have been in the real. Like, would you eat someone if it meant like the group can survive? They don't have to make that decision. But there's still people in that village who like they won't even eat that regenerating arm because they still draw the line there. But in this situation, it's like, yeah, it's guilt-free. Nothing, no one's dying from doing this, and you can live until,
But it's like once you eat it, you can't uneat it, and you can't like get that taste out of your mouth. Because I'm pretty sure that Humans are good.
Okay. I'm going to clip that up, and that's going to be at the beginning of the episode.
Okay, I don't want to say, I mean, we do eat like shit, and we do eat a lot of bad stuff, but I feel like we'd be very good pieces of meat.
I mean, you know.
I'm just saying for like something like, you know, like a bigger predator to eat us, stuff like that. I think for a bigger predator, not just people. I'm not a cannibal. I'm serious. I'm gonna cut to not tag me in cannibal forms.
I'm trying to be clear. Your issue is you think that once they started eating human meat, they couldn't stop.
Well, in this situation, they have to eat it because they're gonna die. Most of and you see the guy is like, "Oh, he never ate my arm, huh?" And he's just like, "Yeah, another one bites the dust."
Yeah.
And the other ones are like, "Oh, good human meat." But once they get back to who's to say that we're not better than, any other meat? And we're like, I can't go back. I can go back now.
I mean, I don't think meat's gonna be that great that you're gonna only eat that for the rest of your life.
I don't know.
Well, in a world
thinks humans taste bomb, dude.
Yeah, this is I never thought this would be a gripe you would have, which is that.
Okay, I don't want to eat
people. Shouldn't they all be hooked on it?
I've never.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Cannibals are cannibals for a reason, okay?
Right,
Once they get a taste, they cannot stop, and it is the taboo factor as well. I mean, they're not taking a life, but
it makes it naughty.
Yeah, like a little naughty. Yeah,
that's why people do most of the things that they do. It's a sin.
I'll hear you out on that point, but the fact that you think it's incredibly juicy and delicious,
it might be. It just might be.
Yeah,
I'm not a cannibal. I've never once thought about eating a human, but I'm just saying in this.
Sounds like you thought about it
I have not thought about it at all, actually. This is the first time it's come up in my life.
Really?
Don't look at my search history. I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
I'm joking. I'm literally joking.
But you think that's a crazy laugh. That's a crazy laugh. But you do think that, like, if someone starts to eat it, then they're gonna not be able to eat like
know.
You think cow again?
You think that they wouldn't have an issue eating his arms? Because I mean, to be fair, a lot of them don't.
Most of them.
I mean,
don't.
yeah, because they're gonna die. There's no other choice.
Yeah, and I get it. It's like there's this guy's like, I can just give you one of my arms, and he grows it back immediately. It's like, why not? I mean, it's this or dying. Yeah, it's like
maybe I wouldn't want to see it.
I mean, we know
you definitely not.
They deliver his arm on a fucking platter.
Yeah, I mean, chop it up and down.
Yeah, dude. How about this? Serve it up to me. Cook it up. Put it over some rice. Make me a nice arm soup like you did for your sister.
Yeah.
Don't give me a raw arm.
Give me some leg carne.
Exactly.
And they put it on the rotisserie and then they chop it.
Yeah, put it in a burrito or something before you give it to me.
Or just give me raw leg.
Oh, no. You definitely want to deliver that to Megan.
We know in the real world, people will eat like raw human flesh when it comes down to it. And there's like there's this book where it talks about how like, how long do you think it would take you before you started like
eating yourself?
Before you be like eating a human body, and like, statistically, you give it about a month, you'll probably start. You'll probably be willing to do it.
Jesus fuck.
I mean, if your life is really on the line, then yeah.
The Oregon Trail.
Think about
the Oregon Trail.
Fuck, dude, that shit's dark.
From just not eating in a day, how much that changes your mindset. You go through a week, you'll start eating bugs, or maybe a couple of days, you'll start eating bugs. No
never
problem.
Happened to me.
You start, you take it to a month, anything's an option. That's just survival.
Yeah, I'm surviving up here, and I have a strong.
How many days have you gone without eating?
What's today? I'm just kidding.
We literally just ate Megan.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, people are. I mean, that's a crazy concept. Cannibalism is a very crazy concept.
Yeah.
And for it to be brought up just so lightly is so, freaking. What's his last name? Fujimoto.
Yeah, Fujimoto.
Yeah. So Fujimoto, just like, this is the world and this crazy concept. You just have to accept it and be like, here you go, which I love.
Which is one of the things he does is having everything have like the realistic, impact. Which is that if people were blessed, had superpowers, it wouldn't be these grand. There would be like realistic things as far as like if you can regenerate, you can feed people. Mm-hmm. Like it would be as simple as that, and then it's like if some person just happened to be powerful enough, they could ruin the world for everyone.
Yeah,
yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. I had just never seen it used in that way before, and it seemed like such a no-brainer thing to do in that situation.
There is a cool moment in the Marvel comics where Deadpool, he pretty much does that for one of the X-Men because they're starving to death, and he like starts feeding him meat. And
Which
he's
one?
Huh? Some guy with wings.
Archangel.
Yeah, either Archangel or some guy with a weird.
Angel.
Well, he got that from Fujimoto probably.
But yeah, you see like Deadpool being, he's like, don't worry about it, just eat, and he's just slicing off bits of his arm and feeding it to the guy.
His nasty, cancerous body.
Oh yeah, he's got a nasty body.
Yeah, but it's like Ryan Reynolds, and like it's all good.
Megan wants to eat Ryan Reynolds, so they have to be a hot guy for you to want to eat them.
Yeah.
Okay, well at least we're on the same page. Well, you'll eat an Uggo too, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Just depends on my taste that day.
How long it's been since you last ate? Yeah, that's what it really depends on, I think.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
So,
but yeah, after
that's the setting. It's this: the world is dying, and this is just this small village, and this is how this brother and sister.
Narnia. Yeah.
A long winter that they've been told is because of a witch that was blessed and cursed the entire world.
And then this
to be cold forever.
The one part the person that like warned me about was their relationship. That was the one. Like everything else, they're like, "Oh, that's cool." This was the part they're like.
Well,
before you say what you have to say, because I have things I have to say too. What Cody's referring to is that this brother and sister, Luna and Agni, you don't find out at this point in the story, but you do find out eventually that they've been through some hard shit, some tough times. And they've been in this village for an extended amount of time. And it gets to a point where their sibling relationship starts to turn slightly romantic, but that's because of her. In the middle of the night, she jumps on top of him and says that she wants to make a baby with her brother. And she
asked him if he wants a baby.
No, help me make a baby.
Yeah, she said, no, I think she said, do you want me to make a baby?
No, she hops on top of him and she basically says, like, would you make a baby with me?
Oh, really?
Will you make a baby with me?
Oh.
Brother, that great because she was like, I don't know.
Should I?
Yeah. And he's like, no, you're my sister. Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how crazy is at the time that was like weird, but now that's the basic concept for most videos.
No.
I get what you're saying.
Step is involved. These are blood.
Sometimes step is involved.
Usually step. If you're on the other side, it's a different
Megan,
story.
Who do you think is the expert between the two of us? Me.
Oh.
You think you are? Oh, well, Megan has a porn addiction now too.
No. I'm just saying.
But it's weird because her logic, right, is that there's, this is a village full of elderly people. There's no one else in that entire village that is their age. And that's like enough.
Doesn't matter,
bro. She's just trying.
Does not matter. Yeah, no. She could definitely fuck an older man in the village and have a baby if that's what she wanted to do. She wants to fuck her brother because she does say, he goes, whoa, and she goes, everyone's old, but I do love you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like really a part of the series now. Look, I know that Fujimoto's a master. There's certain mangaka that you have to give credit to and just assume that they know what they're doing. But this was something that did not seem extremely important to the story.
Well, because like real life incest is usually the result of sexual traumas in the past with like sexual abuse, which we'll find out is definitely a part of their past. So it's not like that's just gross to the sake of it. It's showing that like these are two traumatized children. She was the victim of at the very least attempts by older men. Yeah. So she's traumatized. This is the only person who in this world who she can even trust. So I mean. Mm-hmm. That is how that happens in the real world. So that's not like, again, that's not edgy for the sake of it. This is unfortunate people with realistic consequences in life.
And again, the whole theme of desperation as well. Yeah. As she's just like Cody said, like this is the only man that she's ever like been like, oh yeah, you're like you love me and you protect me, and it plays a psychological role.
This isn't like an anime where it's presented as like cute or anything that the sister has a crush on the brother. This is I at very least took this as a sign of how mentally broken these two children are.
Oni-chan, more like Oni-chan.
Yeah, like more like
I find myself for that one.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to make a grosser joke, but it feels dirty, and I don't want to make it.
Okay.
I was going to say...
I already said my joke, though.
Yeah. Let's just leave it at Megan's joke. Let's just leave it at Megan's, like, mediocre. I was gonna say on knees, like on your knees, Chan, but that's
not even what.
Yeah, I know, but it's like it's just it feels bad and it feels gross.
Yeah, I didn't like it. So that's basically how these people have lived their whole lives. Even though they both have regenerative like blessings, we'll call them blessings, even though they're powers.
Yeah,
gifted,
gifts, mutants, talented,
heroes.
Yeah, quirky, quirks, alphas, specials,
wizards,
Inhumans.
All right, you got mutants. It. You covered it.
Cool guys.
Cody's.
Metahumans.
Oh, think you got them. Think you nailed them all.
Yeah. What? Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So she, the brother, like volunteers him. He has better regenerative blessings, so he wants to be the one who gets. Like she doesn't chop up her arms for food. Only he does, and you find out that there's even a reason that like he's specifically like only like I'm not. It's not going to be you that gets chopped up.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to do solely with the regenerative speed.
Yeah, there's kind of a like that might just be like the excuse.
Yeah. And then it gets to a point after that where that happens, and he goes off into the woods to hunt deer. And as he's out hunting, he notices a plane come down into his village, and goes to check it out. And it's a group of people from this big city, where they've started to like build a society, and they're offering to take the youth to this city so that they can, grow and start new cultures and basically a new world, kind of, right? That's kind of how it's described.
No, they're capturing slaves and blessed to use as like fodder to build up an army.
The blessed are the ones that are.
Well, that's the reality. That's the reality, but like that's not how he pitches it to him at first. I don't think I read it as like him saying like, come to this new place, you'll have lots of opportunity.
To him because he's blessed. Like
but he doesn't know he is though.
Oh, I thought he knew.
No,
not yet.
Because he never knows. He never finds out.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, then yeah. But in reality, he's just there to taking people.
Yeah. In reality, they're just there to take slaves.
Yeah.
And
when they see this village of people with arms hanging from the a lot of arms and legs hanging from these people's shacks, they have the I guess realistic response of assuming they're
because he asks,
then they're like, let's go.
Well, no, he says like, are there any blessed in this village? And he says no, thinking that he's protecting his village by saying that. But in reality, that means, okay, well then if there's not any people here with these kind of abilities, then you're just fucking sickos,
Yeah.
And so by saying that, he almost like damns his village, because then they're perceived as like animalistic sort of monsters. And that guy has the blessing of his flames will burn anything until the fuel runs out. Meaning until that thing is, dead.
Used up, dead, and burned.
Yeah. And so this is where we get an origin story for a hero that was a little aggressive for me. And I didn't need to see, it was so intense.
Yeah, I didn't even know what happened at first. I was like, huh? And I was like, wait. And I had to like go back, and I was like, wait, did that just happen like so quickly? Like they don't even really, they just show the second part.
Oh yeah, they just show the village completely burnt.
He explains that he's gonna burn them, cut to black, and now the village is destroyed, and you see a charred corpse with a thing sticking through his chest like Deadpool in his origin.
Okay.
It's interesting. And then he starts screaming.
Yeah, and what you realize is that because this flame will not extinguish until its fuel or whatever it's engulfed has disintegrated, and because his regenerative powers are so fast that he basically can never die. He's just going to be on fire forever. He then sees a burnt corpse of his sister who does regenerate as well, but a lot slower, crawl up to him and tell him to live.
Yeah, because he realizes that he can like concentrate his regeneration a little. So he realizes that like although like he's regenerating just enough to like keep up with the fire burning him, and he's like realizes he can just let it go and he can die and he can go to the great beyond and just live in that happy world he always told, be back with his family. And then his sister crawls up to him burning and tells him to live.
Yeah.
And he's like, God damn it.
Why, dude? Let him go, man. Like, let him die. she like cursed him at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he didn't have to. He could be like, yeah, I will live. And then when she, died, he could have been like.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's an image that he sees when she tells him to live. It's almost as if he imagines a life with his sister and them having a baby together. Do you guys remember that?
Well, because you see him like.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that panel.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, she's about to say. He literally just says brother.
Yeah.
That's some deep shit right there, boy.
Yeah,
that's some deep shit right there.
Dirty shit.
Which
right
I thought
some dirty shit.
The part you guys would have been stuck on was the fact that they fist bump.
Oh, where?
I mean, that's their thing, though. When they were alive, that was their thing,
Brother,
live,
sick, bro.
It's symbolic, you guys.
I'm on fire.
It really hurts to move, but I have to fist bump you.
Step bro.
Not step bro. Not. I mean, it might have been better if they were steps.
Yeah, I mean, if you're under the impression that someone suffering should just die, that's a very negative outlook you have.
How so, dude? How do you explain the people at hospitals who are like, unplug me? This is torture,
Okay, but he's not one of those people.
But he's literally on fire,
He's
Cody.
in constant pain for the rest of his fucking life, which turns out to be hundreds of years, apparently, since he could regenerate.
Yeah, and he chooses to live despite the suffering. Which brings it to the fact that it's the opposite of nihilism in the sense that it's the traditional meaning of nihilism, which is that life is still worth meaning even through suffering, which is always a theme that Fujimoto likes to cover.
I understand, but suffering to what degree, my brother?
100 degrees.
About 350.
He did it better.
Okay. He did 100.
100's not that hot, Megan.
We're on fire.
That's called winter in California.
Yeah, that's called a good temperature.
It's hot for me, so fuck you guy.
The human body is 98.7 degrees, I believe.
Fuck off.
Far more temperatures than the human body.
Fuck you.
But yeah, dude, I understand suffering. Yeah, to live in spite of it.
Whatever.
But I'm saying is in his specific case, I understand what it's saying and what it means. But dude, I mean, if I was in that situation, it'd kill me.
Well, you're weak-willed.
I'm not weak-willed. I'm actually very strong-willed.
No, you're weak-willed.
No,
you're extremely weak-willed.
It takes.
You're the most weak-willed person I've never met a weaker-willed person in my life.
Nope.
That's why we call you wishy-washy, Josh.
That has nothing. Wishy-washy has nothing to do with being weak-willed. I'll tell you this.
Weak-willed, wishy-washy, Joshy.
Weak-willed, wishy-washy,
www.josh.
It takes strength to accept death.
Sure. It also takes strength to desire life through suffering.
It also takes strength to...
And it's also taken a lot of strength for me to not reach over this table and shake your hand right now. I don't know what I would do. I don't know if would you guys live the rest of your life on fire?
God, no.
Okay, then who's weak-willed now?
I didn't say I wasn't.
Oh, well then if we're all weak-willed, then I guess it's a pretty cool club.
And this starts as a vengeance story, and that's it goes into the fact that if he doesn't keep his mind concentrated on something, all he feels is pain.
Yeah.
Which
it's not far from the truth in any situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in pain.
Yeah.
And yeah, you would think that like if you know the premise of it, I think after this part we'll have like a spoiler remark where it goes into what happens after this, but. Because the premise of, okay, so he gets set on fire to an eternal flame that his regeneration can keep up with.
Mm-hmm. So
you're like, oh, how long did that take? Like the night? It took what? It took him 8 years to to be able to walk and breathe and finally set out on his mission.
And during this 8-year period, it's constant pain. He's constantly like vomiting from the pain, vomiting blood. It's not by any means easy for him to accomplish. And that's what I mean by this like origin story for this quote unquote hero that was so aggressive. I mean, he tortured this man. Fujimoto tortured this man, this character, for years and years and years. I've never seen such an intense like origin story that I can recall. I've seen pretty bad ones, but this one was like pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
If you want a more intense origin story, read Heroes Die, which is something that I had to put down as they were explaining that person's origin for like a day until I was able to finish it.
Is it a comic or is it
a book? It's a book, audiobook, but that's...
So you didn't put it down, you just took your headphones out?
You paused it.
I put my phone down.
Yeah. Oh, that's, I guess, the same.
It was stored in my phone and I put it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Next time.
He lost his sister and his could have been lover.
Oh, God, Megan, Jesus Christ. But it's also true. It's
a double whammy.
Yeah. But I think, you're right, Cody. That's the pretty much like premise of the story. This is the creation of Fireman, as he's coined later on. But it's this like origin story from that point on. And then after that is when things that are still in Volume 1 happen. But that's where it gets a little more spoilery, I would say. So if only there was some way of us knowing.
But alas, I fear as though I can't think of any.
If only there was someone who like said a phrase.
I wish I could continue this conversation, but
yeah.
Oh, it's spoiler time! I was on fire there.
How dope would it be if I could like? How dope would it be if I could like put flames on you? And
do it right now. You have a lighter?
Oh, Megan. Oh, and then can we? I'll
probably live though. I'll probably live through it, so it won't be like bad.
No,
I'm just more scared for you guys because you guys would probably die, and then I would live and like regenerate. Like,
can we have like a little bite of your arm if you?
No, you guys will already be dead. You guys are dead.
And I'm like, Megan was right. This is bomb.
It's good.
It's good.
Yummy.
So here's
pineapple on that beach.
No, God no.
Put the pineapple.
I'm gonna dip into a video game quote. I've already said it before.
Okay, do not.
You played New Vegas, right?
Yes, but do not say you're gonna dip into a new quote. I don't like that. Stop it. I don't like the dip. No, you say dip when you no. Yeah. I'm gonna dip.
Go ahead and dive, baby. Go ahead and dive.
There's a character with a quote that involves being set on fire, and their quote, when they're asked how they survived, is "the fire inside me burned brighter than the fire around me," and I think that encapsulates this character's origin story.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I bet Fujimoto's kicking himself in the ass for not writing that one down.
Hunka Hunka Burn Love, am I right?
I'm sure he's also kicking himself in the ass for not writing that down too.
He's literally naked.
If I have one nitpick, it'd be the fact that after this, he is shredded.
That's a nitpick? Yeah.
Because, I don't know if the regeneration, spawned muscles on him.
He's stronger. He's stronger-minded and stronger by body. Because he's been walking
if he was
doing nothing but movement for the past 8 years.
If he was, curled up in a ball and just constantly doing crunches in pain, dude. I would believe that, that's the body that happens.
Dude, everything's flaming. Flaming hot.
Yeah, it's at this point too that the story really kind of it's the first time that it slightly starts to change, but it's still in the same vein of this tortured, hero who's out for vengeance. It's still this revenge story because the whole time he's on fire, he's imagining Doma, this guy who came to his village and burned everybody alive. The only thing that kept him alive other than his sister telling him to live was the image of him getting revenge on this person. And so he seeks out to find this person. And, that's when he comes across a caravan full of people who are being harassed by higher ups from this same city.
Captured slaves.
Yeah.
I forget the name of this city. It's hard to say. It was
Behima Homo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's like Berthold, but
it's
Behemdorg.
Behemdorg.
You say it with a German accent, yeah.
Yeah.
Behemdorg.
Behemdorg.
And that's where we meet Sun, who
love him.
Yeah, Sun is a little boy, a little boy slave on this carriage or caravan that's being taken to the city. And I'm not going to say this because I don't know if it's known at this point in the story yet. But anyway, he says something to these guards and they pull him off to kill him with the elderly. And right as they're, it shows in a line.
Oh, yeah, because what happens is someone asks, the caravan takes a break so one of the people can pee, and someone asks for water for their kid. And that guy, his blessing is he can make iron. So he makes a cup and he fills it with his pee. And he tells them, if you want to drink this, and they're like, well, never mind.
God, no, they don't say never mind. They don't say never mind. He says, oh, I'm thirsty. Give me that.
No, because they start to resist, and he says, if you don't, I'm going to kill you right now.
Yeah. He forces him to drink it. He forces him. Yeah. He gives him no other option, and it's just this like horrifying scene of this man's ass, peeing into this cup and then sloshing it around, and the poor dad on the caravan is telling his son, just close your mouth, and I'll just wet your lips, kind of thing, and then they all start making fun of him for drinking pee, and it's just like horrible. But I mean, at this point in the story, you've come to expect this kind of thing. It's not anything that's like.
This is one of those things where like how Mad Max, they want to have the humanity has fallen. Look how degenerate they are, and then really it's like, what are they doing? That's degenerate. If they do have it, it'll be off screen or implied, or you'll only see like the far end consequences of it. Very few things are brave enough, I feel, to actually show the degeneracy. Stuff like zombie movies and stuff, they always be like, humans are the real monsters. Why? Because they're bullying and taking slaves. Like, this is what a monster is. This is what humans will do when they have absolute power over other people.
Let me ask you a serious question. Do you think then that this story is, and in other stories similar, it's important to show these things? Because I know it's like hard for people to see. It gives a explicit content warning on the front, but I'm telling you, this even like showed things to me that I didn't think I could handle. So do you think it's important to show this?
Ever since I read Goblin Slayer,
here we go.
Yeah. It brought to my attention how important it is to have villains be villains. Because too often it's just said that they are, and then you're reading and you're like, what's the real? Like if you like playing Doom where there's demons, like what are the demons doing that's evil? Like there's few things want to actually show like villains being villains and monsters. Villains are just, I want to take over the world, and then they don't really do anything bad besides they're like, they'll shoot like the main character's like friend.
True.
But like they're not like doing, because there's such,
I mean, it's a good point.
There's so many evil things that people in the real world do that media like they're like, we can't show this.
Like the Grinch, like you didn't believe he was evil until he stole Christmas.
Cody off.
When he stole Christmas, and they show that he's a villain then.
I've never seen Cody this mad. Cody?
Sure. It's like when the Grinch stole Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, it really kind of is, And also if the Grinch peed and made Who's from Whoville drink his pee.
I mean, he probably did.
Which to the point,
he wanted to kill them. Like he wanted them to die. Like he gave a little girl a saw and he said, "Run with it, go, double time, move, let's go."
She's talking about the Grinch.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the Grinch.
Yeah. I getting the
so
stories
many
mixed
parallels
up.
between
so alike.
Whoville and Fire Punch World.
Right.
It's a doggy eat doggy world and human eat human world, and maybe even who eat who world. Who's to say that the roast beast isn't a human?
It's a real. Megan's gone off the rails. We broke Megan. Megan.
This manga broke me, I think.
Megan's trying so hard. She read this whole series as the Grinch because she couldn't handle how traumatizing it was.
Drink my piss.
To that point.
Right. Save it, Cody.
What the Grinch movie did that the original story didn't is it gave the Grinch valid reasons to hate Christmas.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
In the original, he's just an asshole. right?
Okay.
But in the movie, it shows, one, how the Who's were like dicks who were like racist.
They were racist.
They were racist. How he was fed up with how superficial Christmas had become. And it showed him being super petty to them.
Yeah.
So that added a lot of depth to the story that just saying he's the bad guy doesn't have.
No, but
similar to making a child eat piss under threat of death.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that whole sentiment, because you're right. They don't show the villain being, doing villainous things other than your typical. Cody, stop glaring at Megan. Other than, like you said, like killing someone's loved one or blowing something up. You know what I mean? Just like vague, this explosion of a building or something, and it doesn't actually show like the horror that is actually occurring. And I think therefore you can get more invested in the world and the story. But at the same time, like it's important when it's important, and it's not when it's not. And I'm not saying it's not in this series. It is very important in this series. But I for fear of less experience, like this story in the hands of a less experienced writer, I think could have been like way worse as far as like graphically than it is. And I think, like I said earlier, like Fujimoto, he knows what he's doing, and he's doing what he's doing for a reason, and it's to say something, and it's to show something, and it's to make you feel something, and it's not. And this is all going back to like, I don't think it's graphic for the sake of being graphic. I don't think that at all. But it's a lot, dude. It's a lot, and that the P thing is the tip of the yellow iceberg, because it gets way
yeah, that's
worse.
not even that bad.
Yeah, there's a part where you're like, all right, so up to that point you're like, I get what this story is, and then it hits a point where we're like, okay. But again,
that's my point about it being too much.
Yeah.
Also, not off the limits of what real people will do to people.
Absolutely,
I know.
but still.
It was still like, oh, we're doing this now.
Yeah.
It's like every shocking thing that happens, you're like, okay, it's like, we're doing this.
Yeah, it's not. It's literally not afraid to go anywhere. And anywhere means anywhere.
Yeah, if you view this as an exploration of the depths of the human will and depravity, a lot of this makes sense. I mean, because if we lived in a world where humans didn't do way worse stuff than what you see in here, I would be on the side of like, that was too much. People don't do that. But the reality is people will do insane things to other people.
Right.
Just because they can.
Well, I mean, let's get to some of that stuff then too, because it's coming up soon. What happens?
Yeah, we immediately get our first fight scene after that P scene.
Yeah, after that P scene is when Fire Punch shows up and, fucks everyone up. And the cool thing about this, like, dome of flame that he has now, this flame that won't extinguish, is that if it even grazes you, there's no putting it out. But that also means that he can't touch anyone he cares about either. Like, he's also cursed in that way as well. Like, he can't control the flames.
And the kid Sonny, he was going to be executed because he was like glaring at the soldiers, and they told him he was going to learn his place and they were going to kill him.
And then he was like, oh, Fire Punch comes then.
Yeah. I think they said that they were gonna, even though he was, though he was a boy, that they were gonna like rape him too. And I think that even like,
some of them prefer that.
Yeah, and it even said like some of the guys who were like, looking at everything were like saying like, there's a couple cute girls, in this caravan, and then one of the guys was like, I prefer a young boy kind of thing, and it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I guess.
Yeah. It's
which
a
it's
lot.
like, it's equally as horrifying, like regardless, but like, I don't know. You just like, you never really like, you never really hear, because something about that is like, shows the ultimate level of the depravity. Like, it's like,
it's the ultimate power over another person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It has
to be
nothing
picky
to do
with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something about taking it to that level. I don't know. It just made it more real in like a scary way.
Yeah, no shit. All of this is scary, and like I love how his like main like power is regenerating, but it's like this fire now that he has. It's like the worst way you could possibly fucking die is to be set on fire.
Yeah,
like it's horror. Like it's the worst way to go out. It's literally it's probably the worst way to go out. So it's cool that he is like using that fire to get these bastards dead, because that's the best way for them to die.
Which is why showing how depraved and evil these people are help, because usually the issue superhero stories, which if Chainsaw Man was a spin on shonen, I would say this is a spin on superpowers and superheroes and vengeance stories. Without showing how depraved these people are, normally when you have a hero beat up a thug, you're like, what'd that thug do?
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, what that thug do, though?
Hey, what that thug do?
They're like, Batman doesn't kill, but he could have, ruined his life forever. You could have, given him serious brain damage, and you're like, what do you do, rob a bank? But this
true.
guy...
That's also another cliche thing that villains do, just steal an old lady's purse, and then it's like,
and they're like, you're dead.
Yeah, that's, plenty of reason for us to want him dead as an audience.
If he gets a little roughed up, then maybe he could change his ways of life. Do not kill him over stealing a chocolate bar.
I think that the trap that comic books are stuck in right now is they can't show the things that gang members will do to people.
Sure.
But it depends.
No. I think he's saying
they're not good enough.
In a Batman comic, they're not going to show the things that gang members will do if they kidnap. But
why do you think that?
Because they legally can't. Yeah, I mean, not that they legally can't, but yeah, because of the audience, and because of just the rules on things that they can and can't show. There are comics, Image Comics and things like that, tend to have more graphic content, but Marvel and DC, their brand is children's stories. There are adult themes in those stories.
Or even Dark Horse too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a comic book writer who I think is edgy for the sake of edgy, and he'll even say I don't know, I just don't like zombie stories, and he was and I think Superman sucks, so he'll just write where Superman rapes someone, and you're
that's you?
Me? Yeah,
you hate zombies? He's just like.
It's called Crossed, and it is. I think
I've seen Crossed.
On the other hand, it is his argument for that is people aren't really ready for the evil that humans could do if they were stripped of the morality, which is true. And I think based on if you have a problem seeing stuff like this, stuff like in Goblin Slayer, you're not ready for what people will do in the real world.
Yeah, I used to I don't know how to say this. I want to word it carefully, but trigger warnings I think can be, I don't know. Sometimes I think that they can be given for things that are not necessarily as bad as you might think, right? Sometimes I feel they'll put trigger warnings on anything just to be safe. But this is something that if you're considering reading, Pun Pun, I think trigger warnings in Pun Pun, even though it's not about violence, is very important.
In the sense it is. The emotional violence that we all...
And so I guess what I'm really trying to say is some people, I did get that leg stretching, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that some stories merit a trigger warning. I don't know. I think that there are people out there who might roll their eyes at it, oh God, it's all these soft ass people. All these soft ass people need trigger warnings, and I don't know. There are definitely some stories that for sure need them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, especially when it's called Fire Punch, and you're like, cool. What is it? What is that? The Human Torch?
And literally,
exactly.
The synopsis does not give anything away that would indicate that it might be anything graphic involving it, except for the explicit content.
I think having an asterisk under this synopsis with this covers.
Yes.
I don't know, not trigger warning, this happens, but asterisk, explicit warning to elaborate on that. Here's what this will cover.
Yeah.
Kind of what is the thing that they do before TV shows, and it's TVMA includes
this manga contains
language, piss, incest,
arguments for incest.
What's the one?
Sexual,
with
harassment, basically, is what it is.
Animals.
Oh, bestiality.
It covers
rape.
It all. It covers it. It covers all the bases of being horrible.
I guess, and I'm trying to figure out how I was trying to say it earlier, but what I'm trying to say is that, I don't need I know this, everybody has their own experiences, and bullying is a thing that affects people, but, I don't need a trigger warning for, this story, this story includes bullying. I don't need that.
Yeah.
But for this, I need it.
Yeah. You went in, I don't even think you knew anything, and
all.
I didn't know either, and then immediately once two things happened, I was like, oh, it's gonna be this type of story, because we get a little bit. Chainsaw Man is more on the gore aspect, and it does kind of touch on being a little fucked up at times, but it is a walk through the prairie compared to this shit. You are like, oh, I love it. The Chainsaw Man's so fun. Yeah. And it's if you're looking for Chainsaw Man in this, you're not going to find it. It's not there. Only thing is there is art and maybe the same type of themes, but definitely not even close.
Yeah.
They're two different stories. If you like Chainsaw Man so much and you're expecting that, it's not that. It's not that.
I do think, really quick before we go to because we're kind of getting to the end of Volume 1 with kind of where we go with Sun and after that whole kind of fight happens. But to touch on the art really quick, this story opens up with an art style that is, not very similar to Chainsaw Man at all. But the farther you go, you can see, I don't know if it's Fujimoto getting more comfortable. I don't know if this was his first series ever. But you see him either find his art style or get more comfortable drawing a certain way, and it's interesting to me to see this evolution of his style through the series. It starts he's imitating a manga style similar to something that borders on the edge of realism, like Blood on the Tracks or something. And then it kind of he kind of finds his style towards I would say the end, and definitely throughout Volume 2. He really locks into that Chainsaw Man-esque art style, and I love that style. It's so unique and it's so cool. And I think since all his stories are on the grittier side, that style fits whether it's purposefully or not. It just complements the story so incredibly well.
Yeah, and I totally see where you're. Yeah, in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is different, obviously, because new setting, new characters, all this stuff. And then I see the person at the end of the first volume, and I'm like, oh, I know that person. Because it's very familiar and it's very reminiscent of other characters in Chainsaw Man. Not just one, a couple.
Yeah. So in the sense that he started forming preferences and favorites and if Chainsaw Man's a diamond, this is the burning coal.
I mean, 100%. I do think that he took a lot of what he learned. So, no, I think you're
good.
I think you're right.
That was good.
I think he threw a lot of stuff at the wall with this series. He saw what stuck, and he took that and implemented it into Chainsaw Man. I think this was him throwing it all out and trying everything and going there. And then seeing what either people reacted to, what was enough to tell the story he wanted to tell, and then this is there would be no Chainsaw Man without Fire Punch, and it wouldn't be as good as it is without Fire Punch.
I think it's so fucking awesome that my first story, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do and be as great, because I don't think he would have been able to put this out if he put Chainsaw Man first. It would have been
Probably
a
not.
complete 360. What the fuck? Why are you he just started off with his banger and was just whatever I want to do, I'm gonna do. Whatever graphic shit I want to show, I'm gonna show it, because if this is my last one, then fuck it. That's the vibe that I get from this. It's
this
great.
is why comic books are dying and manga is taking over in popularity. Because also, look, he wrote and drew this. Yeah. He had absolute creative control. It was extremely raw and he had an idea. He went for it. He explored it, and he showed it would be you cannot do that when you're making a Spider-Man story.
Oh, absolutely not, dude. That goes through so many hands that it's never gonna be truly someone's vision from start to finish.
I think the darkest moment in a Marvel movie might be which doesn't get well done, but Mary Jane almost gets raped in the first movie, which is a carryover from James Cameron was told you need to write a script before we'll even talk about producing. So he's whatever, and he just wrote that scene. For some reason that stayed. So that is the result of someone who had complete creative control. He made a wild Spider-Man story But like that one element where Mary Jane almost gets raped in an alley stayed.
Well, it's like DC. Yeah. It's like DC and Marvel are so polluted with the same stories, the same origins, the same characters. That's why manga is so great and is upcoming, because they're new characters, fresh ideas, and they can do whatever direction they want because they can write it and fucking make it. You don't see. I mean, you do see new comic books coming out, but predominantly it's DC, Marvel. You see those characters. Like, you don't think of comic books and you're like, oh, I know that one comic book that no one knows about and it's really good. Like, no one's talking about that.
Yeah, and there are a lot of mangaka, but Fujimoto is definitely one of them, that prove that in manga there are no rules. There's like no, like, you could do, if you can think it, you could do it kind of thing. And you know, it's so cool that it's basically this system that seems to be based on whether something is popular or not, that decides whether it continues to be made. Like, not necessarily the context. There's not, like, it's not controversial enough to get like pulled or canceled. It's only going to get pulled or canceled if it's not being received very well. But yeah, he's someone who, like, I would say more respect for, especially after the series too, because like just his ability to be this creative kind of person, but like in such a like unique way, tackling these like very dark things, and like he seems like a true, I don't mean to be cheesy or corny, but like an artist, like in more than one sense of the word, you know, in everything that he does, man.
It's a clear vision throughout, like you were saying kind of in the beginning, like it just goes so many different places, and I kind of like that because it makes everything feel more real to an extent. I mean, it can get too polluted and it's like, okay, we need to pick where you want to go. But he just ties it all in. He can just tie it all in, like towards the end. He just, okay, cool, we're back. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. But real quick, so we can get through the rest of it too. This is where we met Sun, and that fight happens.
The kid follows him around. He gets his flashback showing like what happened to them, which was some thugs broke into their house and killed their parents and then tied them up and started eating them.
Oh, you're talking about
Agni and his sister.
And Luna's backstory.
Yeah. And she, you know, one of the things that like, you know, that like sparked him having the will that he does is seeing his sister almost get raped. Yeah. And
in a horrible way.
Yeah. And also very realistic.
Yeah.
And to do that,
God, sorry, I'm just thinking of literally like the words that were, I don't want to be too graphic, but it is what's in the story. I mean, it's a man just literally pulling down his pants in front of a little girl and saying, suck it.
Yeah, you know? It's like literally, horrible. And the brother's just like, fuck, I can't do anything. And then he's like, oh no, I'm just going to cut my fucking arm off and save her. It was such a baller move.
Yeah, he literally is going to pull his arm so hard that the bone snaps through it. And then, you know, like, it's so graphic, but, you know, in that moment,
he's a survivor. And I think that's one of the important, and he would do anything to protect his sister. And he ended up not being able to do that.
That's why he's so upset. Because he's a person that, like, you know, he could fucking do that. And then the fire's like the only thing that fucking stopped him.
Yeah, the only thing that could stop him is a fire that burns until everything is dead.
Yeah.
Little convenient, but
and
also,
what are the odds?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think that goes far enough to show why, at the very least, the sister is sexually like confused and messed up in the head. I don't think it's like, I don't think it's at all supposed to be ecchi, or it's or it's supposed to be like kind of hot. It's supposed to show a traumatized person who has grown up with only her brother as someone she can trust.
Yeah, and I like this interaction that he has with Sun too, because after it happens, Sun follows him because he says he prayed to God to save him, and then Agni showed up, so that must mean Agni's God. But what I like about that too is that it, you know, Agni, like a lot of other protagonists, is not very keen on helping Sun, but in like a more realistic way, I think, here than in other stories. Like he like, as the story continues too, like, doesn't really seem to give a fuck. Like he says like, I saved you, which he did. Sun says you saved me, but he says he didn't. He said, I did that because I wanted to do that. You just like happened to.
I killed men. I didn't save you.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, there's a lot to be said about a guy who is constantly on fire in a frozen world.
It's poetic.
Yeah.
And someone else in the story points that out too.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to. But yeah, after that, basically to kind of like, it's a lot of...
and the kid even Sonny gets held hostage again.
Right. Yeah.
And then he reveals that he's
a blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, I go Zeep.
Yeah.
I go Zeep is that.
Yeah.
God, he's so cute.
Yeah, he's super cute, which is why Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. And I like any story that involves someone, growing, in regards to passion or caring about someone. I don't like if someone just immediately like takes on like heroics and like caring about everyone they meet. I like it if someone has to like develop that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who's like, I just want revenge.
Yeah. I mean, this is a point in the story where like shit starts to really pop off. They get attacked again, and Agni goes to run after Sun because of this like avalanche that has happened and buried them.
He just gets buried. He's like, "Oh fuck,
yeah,
kid, where are you?"
Which is cool because he's just like melting the snow to walk through it, and that's when someone else finds Sun, and that someone else seems to be a nice person when we first meet them.
Where are your parents, kid? Yeah, let me give you a ride.
Jesus Christ.
This is how kidnapping usually happens.
It's just like, don't trust anyone in this frozen tundra. Why would you?
Yeah, and this person ends up, being taken to Agni and is revealed to be a very mean person that happens to look a lot like Luna, Agni's sister.
Yes.
And so Agni gets it in his fucked up head that she somehow survived and her memories have been wiped.
Because it's been 8 years.
Yeah. And she's around the same age and she looks the same, sounds the same.
Has the same powers.
Yeah, has the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless her. We're going to have to cut that out. But this woman proceeds to destroy Agni in the most like...
Destroy him.
Horrible way.
Destroy him.
She not only like decapitates him, but tells, her henchmen to basically continue to shoot at his head over and over and over and over and over so he can't regenerate enough to do anything while she wraps him in some fireproof cloth.
Yeah.
And
he's just like staring with his eyes open and he's just like, oh my God, my sister's alive. And she's like, no, bitch. I'm not your sister, bitch.
Yeah. And then they get.
Yeah, that was a very weird dialogue.
Yeah, didn't fit the rest of the story, but
that just shows Fujimoto, he's willing to go out there and having spoke with like this weird voice that was like very high pitched.
And that worked.
But I had the sense they were ripped and very buff.
Fuck you, bitch. I'm not your sister, bitch.
I'm not your sister, bitch.
I'm not your sister, bitch.
But I want to get to the part where they take him back to city.
I don't want to get back to that part.
Yeah, real quick.
I don't want to go back at all ever again.
Me neither.
I don't want to be there. I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. I don't want to see it. I don't want to talk about it.
The fact that he's a head and they're like he's gonna regenerate. The fact that it's called a blessing. That's why I'm like, there's no like plot issue of like how can he regenerate? Like that's just his gift in that world. Be it if you call it magic or from the gods.
Yeah,
he can regenerate. He doesn't need to consume food to do it. It's just what he can do.
Yeah, and actually they say that he is, immune to starvation as well.
Because
his organs can just regenerate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They call it regeneration, but then like the reality of it is a lot more complicated than that. But I think that's just like, you chop an arm off, it comes back, and you regenerate. But if he's also a self-sustaining human that can like just return to its...
Yeah, he can build a whole new body for himself. Essentially from a head. But yeah, they take him back to see this person, Judah, I think her name is.
Yeah, Judah's the one he thought was his sister.
Yeah. Judah takes him back to see Doma, this guy who Agni's looking for because she recognizes these flames or has only seen these flames in one other case. And so takes him back to their city to see Doma so that he can like figure this shit out. And I don't know if Agni's aware of it at that point or not, but they go to this city and Sun gets taken to another room with another little girl, and we will talk about that in a second. And Judah has her goons kind of shoot at Agni over and over and over and over.
Literally, I don't even know how many hours they've been shooting at this fucking head.
Yeah.
Like, he's just there. And
every now and then I think she's like, yep.
Yeah.
Reload.
Reload.
Lock and load.
Keep doing it. I'm getting everything ready. I'm sorry. I had to have dinner.
And they do that until Doma can get there. And so I don't know what you guys want to talk about first. What happens when Doma gets there, or what happens to Sun? But
let's talk about what happens to Sun.
Let's talk about what happens to Sun.
God, poor baby. I just hate it. I hate all of it. I hate it all.
What's funny is the dogs look like the same from the dogs in Chainsaw Man.
Mm-hmm.
I think he don't want to know that.
They do.
I think the writer just likes drawing that type of dog.
Maybe. But dogs. I don't want to associate anything from what's about to happen with Chainsaw Man.
But nothing really happens yet. It's like,
plenty happens.
No. I mean, kinda. I mean, he just says like, hey, like, he says some fucked up shit. So this guy basically just comes in and he's like, oh, like, I'm such a nice guy, guys. Don't even worry about it. I'm the nicest guy you'll ever meet. They're like, really? I thought some fucked up shit was gonna happen. They're like, no. He's like, nothing like that. Yeah. You like my dogs? Yeah. I'm gonna use you to please them. And they're like, what?
Well, yeah, it turns into this girl and him.
What?
This girl and Sun meet, and she's like, they're gonna do bad stuff to us here. And Sun's like, what do you mean bad stuff? Like,
Sun is such a baby. He's just like, what do you mean? I almost got raped twice. I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, what the fuck? You know why we're here?
Well, they think he's a little girl too.
Yeah.
And so this guy comes in. He's like, whoa! I'm not gonna do anything bad to you guys.
I'm not gonna do anything bad to you.
Which is true. He's not going to.
Oh my God.
And he asks the girl, a little bit about herself. Like, I want to get to know you because when you're scared, you're not gonna tell me who you really are. I want to know who you really are. Like, I care about you. Like, relax. Like, calm down. And her and Sun have like come up with this like code where she sticks her tongue out. That means Sun's supposed to zap him so they can get away.
This totally reminded me of Kobeni.
And with the tongue out kind of thing.
The sweating, just like scared.
And so
and he laughs.
This guy, she gives him the sign, and Sun, ignores it or forgets about it because he's a little kid, and
which creates a very weird comedy scene in the middle of this.
Oh, it's the weirdest thing ever. Because let me just drop the bombshell. The guy, and Megan already said it, but let me the weight of it is that like, do you like dogs? And then they both say, oh yeah, I love dogs, and to which he responds, good. Well, you're going to fuck my dogs. While I basically watch. And he's not doing it for any, he's not doing it for the dogs. He's not doing it for some experiment. He's doing it because he says that's what he likes to watch. He likes to watch little girls, be whatever, it sounds gross, saved by dogs.
Jesus Christ.
That's where the weird comedy scene kind of happens because Sun has no idea what sex is. Which, in a weird way, makes it more fucked up because his, like, pure childhood innocence, right? And it does make it a little more real or whatever. And so Sun's like, oh, I don't, what's sex? And I forget how it comes
he's
about.
Like, take your pants off. And he's like, oh, you want me to show my butt?
Yeah.
Which, for a kid, like,
God. Yeah. Literally the worst. The worst.
And then he shows his, takes his pants off to show his ass. And that's when they see he has a dick. And they're like, you're a boy? And
gross. That ruins this whole thing.
God damn, I'm just gonna fucking kill you now.
Well, yeah, and that's when, they're like, she's like, fucking Sun, you idiot, zap him.
Zap him, fucking zoop him.
Yeah, zip, zap, zoop him.
Seriously, fuck this guy up, and then they try to, and then his legs get cut off by this fucking big old bitch. And then you find out that he has regenerative also, right?
No. He can heal other people. The dog.
Oh wait!
The guy. The dog.
Sun's legs are gone forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to talk. I feel like you're brushing past it because the panel is like Sun with his legs chopped off, but like because he took his pants off earlier, he's like bare from the waist down. He's naked, legless, and
those legs, my legs.
Yeah, dude, and it's like it's a truly horrifying image to see this like child, from naked from the waist down with his legs chopped off. It's like
God.
very graphic. And the guy's ability is to like stop the bleeding and to kind of like
he regenerates his legs there's like,
but not
if
to full.
Agni can regenerate himself, that's his blessing. The guy with the dogs, ironically, despite how evil he is, his blessing is he can heal other people.
Jesus fuck.
Which gives it shows you how like someone could be evil with that, as far as being like, I can torture you all I want, and I won't suffer consequences as far as like ruining slaves for my boss.
Yeah,
I can do whatever I want to you, and no one will even know about it.
Yeah, and just to be clear, he heals him enough to where his like severed legs become stubs. Like he doesn't.
I thought that was him healing. I thought I had some hope there,
no,
but then
his legs are long gone.
And then you find out that they're like, "Oh, you have a shock ability. Like we're not." That's why he says, "Don't kill him, heal him." And then they just say you're going to be restrained to just use your electricity forever, and that's how you're going to live your life. And it's like the most terrifying thing.
Yeah.
It's like, just kill me. I'd rather die.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be used.
And later on, you get to kind of see that a little bit, like what happens, without spoiling anything past Volume 1. But you know, it takes a while for you to see what's going on with Sun, but you do see it, and it is horrifying.
Yeah.
But
the next panel is just them having a smoke, all these evil ass people.
Oh yeah, people.
And she's not even as evil as these fucks.
Oh, she's pretty fucking evil.
Oh, later you see that?
Yeah, she's pretty fucking evil.
Oh, okay. I get like a Makima vibe from her.
Oh yeah, 100% Makima vibe.
It's the eyes.
Yeah, it's the eyes.
There.
But these guys are pretty fucked up too.
But that's what happens with Sun and that little girl almost at the end. That's for sure what happens to Sun by the end of it.
Yeah.
But then what happens with Agni is that he's finally confronted face to face with Doma. And this is what I was talking about in the beginning, Cody, is so we find that Doma, for whatever reason, has gone crazy. Whether it's because of his ability or because of just like life or some sort of illness or sickness, he's like gone. Mentally, he's like not 100% gone, but he's not all there. And he's an old man now. He looks old. And when he sees Agni, first of all, he does not remember. He does not know who Agni is. He has no memory.
8 years. He does that all the time.
Exactly. And so that kind of catches Agni off guard. He's like, you're telling me you don't recognize me? You don't know me? And he's like, no. And Agni tells him, what he did to him in his village. And, Doma's like, I'm sorry. I want to live. I don't want to die, and I'll do anything it takes to live. And if that means apologizing to you, then I'm sincerely so fucking sorry for doing that. Just please don't kill me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that how you read it? Because I read it as like a...
More like manic than that, I guess.
Yeah, no, he was like, I don't remember. You're literally on fire. You might set me on fire. Please.
I don't think it's that, because Doma has some sort of control over these flames. He can literally like
stop them.
Yeah. That's why when Agni tries to fight him, he can't. Doma keeps pushing him away with these because he seems to have control over these flames. Do you agree, Cody? Is that how you see it?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could see that.
But how do you interpret it?
He seems more of like a traumatized soldier, because again, what he did in the context that he knew was he killed a cannibal tribe.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Because they didn't even get to hear them out. He just went, "Oh, y'all are cannibals." Yeah.
Yeah.
Still did the wrong thing, and unless he was the only. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't, what he did in his mind. He wasn't being evil.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not a maybe fair comparison because they're completely different stories, but they do something similar in Avatar: The Last Airbender, where I know it's a stretch, but follow me.
The Grinch was a stretch. Continue.
Yeah. Where Katara,
no, it wasn't. It was good as it. It comparison.
It ended up, being pretty similar.
Yes.
But Katara goes to the Fire Nation to find the fire soldiers who killed her mother, and when she finds the fire soldier, and she's on a rampage, and at this point, like her and Zuko are working together.
She's splishing, she's splashing,
and taking a bath and all that, and. When she and Zuko's telling her like, "Yo, dude, chill," and she finally gets to this fire soldier, and he's like retired. He's lives with his mom now, and he's like tending gardens. And so she confronts him, and he's just like has all these like vegetables, and he's just like in his mind like it was war, and I don't want to die, kind of like a very similar thing. And Katara is like confronted with this thing like, damn, you've been my driving force for getting stronger and for doing all of this. And now what? Now
I usually don't like those things because it's like it's pretty much always like, well, I'm over it.
Yeah, you should get over it too.
Because usually how revenge stories go with that is they're like, he's like, but I'm retired now and I have a family, so they're like, oh, I didn't realize you moved on and had a happy life. That makes what you did fine.
Yeah. But how do you feel about it in this context? Because I do think, and that's what I was talking about, like, I think that the themes of nihilism are just like all throughout the story, and I'm not saying that it's like particularly at play here, but like it does kind of make Agni feel like, and you're right, when you word it like that, it is very funny and kind of silly that he's like, oh, I'm sorry, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same,
because I know the way that scene is, whenever that type of scene is shown, it's supposed to be like, vengeance has consumed you. You're bad for still being mad about it. You know who talks like that? The person who did something bad to you.
Yeah.
It's always like, dude, you hold on to grudges for a while. Yeah, because you keep doing shit.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't know. That's
so crazy.
That type of like story never really sits right with me.
What do you think though when you read that and you see Megan, like this guy who's like on this like rampage that's like all that's kept him alive pretty much or fueled him, and then like when you read that part, like did you feel that way for him, or how did you feel when you got there?
I like the idea of that type of concept where like, one person holds on to it for such a long time and that's their like reason for living, and then they show up and they think that that person's going to think about them daily, like, oh yeah, that was great that I did that evil, I'm so evil, I think about that evil I do all the time. But if they're truly evil, they're not thinking about it because they do it all the time. And it's the same it's like the same concept as like Game of Thrones, or like people that have these vengeance and they're like, you remember me on this day, you killed my father, and they're like, who are you again? I killed many fathers. I like that because it's so true. Like an evil person wouldn't think about this one person that he killed over 8 years ago because he's killed so many. It's just not like Thanos is the prime example. And it's like, he's like, who are you again? Like, I don't remember you. You have something towards me, but you're nothing to me. It's the perfect example of like, you are nothing to me. And it fuels the fire even more.
But it doesn't fuel his fire. It kind of like throws him off because Agni's kind of like, oh fuck. Like, yeah, like,
and I think it's a Mortal Kombat movie or a Street Fighter movie where it's that type of thing. Someone grows up to avenge her village who was killed by a general, and she confronts him, and she's like, do you remember? He goes, no. She's like, what? And he's like, the day that I came, I think it was Street Fighter. The day that I came and took everything from you was the most important day of your life, but for me it was Tuesday.
That sounds like a little too fucked up, but okay. That's what it is, but I don't know. In this situation, like it seemed like he really had no reason to like that was his reason for being there, and now he had no reason to be there. Now he was like, he didn't still want to. I mean, he kind of still wanted to kill Doma, but he was also like, I also like, if I do, then like, what does that make me now? And yeah, that's been done a million times, but like, I don't know, I really felt for him in that moment,
in this context, because again, it adds the complexity of the fact that this guy, in his mind, he killed a cannibal village. But I mean, yeah, it's not that like, because he doesn't get over it and be like, oh, when you put it that way that you're over it, I guess it's fine now. He's like, I think it's more just taken aback that he wouldn't remember taking everything from him.
Yeah.
And then again, the guy's not like, I'm sorry, I've repented. He's like, I don't want to die. What do you want me to do?
I'll say anything to not die.
And then Agni doesn't go like, I guess we've all have a fire punch inside us. He's still like, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah. Like he does,
But at the same time, it's like so his sister was like, live. Not, can you go kill that guy for me because I want you to? Like, his reason for living is to kill that guy. So after that guy's dead, then what is his reason to live? He has to find another reason to live because of what his sister said. If he's abiding by that rule of the only reason why he's living, then he needs to fucking find something else. And I think that based off of the first volume, I mean, obviously, it pretty much, it's like a beginning, middle, and end of like, oh, he found him. Cool. What's going to happen after this? Yeah. I have no idea. I cannot guess what's going to happen next, which I love about
Fujimoto. And I would assume, like, my top priority after I get revenge, my burning revenge against burning passion. His fire burned like desire.
Okay.
My next step after getting revenge would be to figure out how to put the fire out.
But then he's burned.
Yeah, sure,
oh no, he's not. No, he's not burned. He's regenerated. Yeah, so he still has all the shit.
I think it's because that fire operates under the magical rules, and that it can't. Yeah, I mean,
not
you can't.
Magic.
Blessings.
The
bless
blessing.
You. I bless you both.
Thank you.
I don't like that.
But that's not where that story goes, and that's not what happens after. Because,
and also, Agni loses that fight.
Yeah, he gets his ass whooped.
Which is funny because that's how most of the major fights go in this and Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that is, I guess, kind of similar. But also, this story becomes a completely different story.
Cool.
After the end. Because
not like in a sarcastic way. I'm saying like cool. Like I'm
No. You read to the end of Volume 1 where we at the very end all of a sudden meet this new character.
Yeah, who? That was my question.
Togata.
Huda, what?
Yeah.
That's who I would assume is the Fujimoto's stand-in. I thought that was like a extra skit thing for a bit.
No.
But that is happening in universe. There's this guy who's like,
it's a girl.
What?
yeah.
Do that a lot in the series.
Yeah, they do that a lot. So I
what
do
is it, Prince of Freya?
Exactly. I do want to kind of tell you guys where it goes. So I will say here now.
Extreme spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, let's cover that final scene then with that character who comes in, and then we'll talk about what happens after this volume.
Right. So it's this new character, and all you see is them sitting in a chair talking about their love of movies and how everybody has their fuel, and movies are their fuel. And they reference how they came from a family that had plenty of movies that they watched over and over and over and over and over, but now because of some sort of fire or disaster or something, all the movies that they owned have been wiped away. It was the only thing that gave them purpose, that gave them any reason to live. And now because they don't have any movies anymore, they want to die. And instead of dying, their goons bring them footage of Chainsaw Man, Fireman, and she decides, instead of dying because there are no more movies, I will make my own movie. And yes, that's where
it ends on
is.
a very goofy note where she is like, and what will I call it? Got it?
Yeah.
Fireman.
Yeah.
And then
that's it.
Yeah.
So odd.
Yeah.
I was taken back. I was like, wait, what's going on?
This story it's important to know this, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's important to know that if you do get into Fire Punch based on like what we've talked about in Volume 1, know that it becomes something completely different in Volume 2. And when I say completely different, I mean completely different, because Togata becomes kind of like not the main character, but she kind of becomes a main character. And the rest of that arc with her, which takes up, Volume 2 and beyond, is her following Fire Punch around with a camera and directing a movie. And that's what the entirety of it becomes.
Which is bonkers.
To the point where she saves the other little girl that was in the room with Sun, and basically forces her to be her camera girl. Yeah. And and they're getting in. She takes the role of a director. So when Fire Punch says something, she's like, no. Can you stop right there? Stop right there. Say it like this and do it like that. And that's going to be boring if we don't But
do you think that this might be just in the second volume and then it changes?
No.
Yeah. It becomes that.
I'm gonna look that up real
quick.
Yeah. Give me that.
Give me that.
Let me just see that you're
wow.
not pulling. Yeah, you're not just joshing with me.
Oh no.
My God.
Yeah. It becomes that for the entirety of not the entirety of the whole story, but for a big chunk of it. And dude, she even tries to train him to act. And
is this also explicit? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
God,
maybe less dogs.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any dogs in the next volume.
No, she was directing the.
Oh yeah. Actually, there is one scene, and then we'll give our final thoughts on volume 1.
Jesus fuck.
There's this one scene where, and she's not a hero either. There's a scene where a guy on the train is gonna rape the girl who was in the room with Sun, and she's just standing there with the camera, and they're like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "Don't look at the camera." She's like, "Rape her, rape her."
Oh my God.
And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Because the audience has to feel like you did something bad. If we just kill you, then yeah, I know.
Bro.
Fujimoto's in my goddamn head.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Fujimoto is wild, dude. Yeah. So I don't know.
So the whole time I was saying that, you were like,
well, yeah, I mean, yeah. But I also it goes there, man. It goes there, and he commits to it, and once he's in it,
let me see how that train scene ends. I want to just know that person's going to be okay or not.
You have to read.
Yeah, dude. And to everybody watching or listening,
it's too much.
This is an incentive, I guess, to continue to read Fire Punch, because it does change a lot, and it is Fujimoto being Fujimoto.
And someone I've read it, and someone commented on one of our videos, one of your Chainsaw Man review, that Fujimoto, he loves movies, he loves movie references, all of his stuff involves movies in some way. I didn't know it took it to that degree.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that it became a movie in a manga.
Yeah.
And also, check this out. The first one is red. The second one is blue. Who knows what the third one's going to be?
Okay, that was very important to point out. So how do you guys, I guess, feel about, volume 1 of Fire Punch on its own, and then also knowing kind of what happens after, mixed with how it compares to Chainsaw Man? I know they're completely different stories, and they don't necessarily have to be compared to one another, but
not at all.
Yeah, but
literally not at all.
How do you feel about it, and just in general, or your thoughts on volume 1?
I just like the freedom of the story. I like the freedom that Fujimoto he just does whatever he wants to do, and he really just, prime example, reading this, I wonder how many people just stopped reading because it became something completely different, or how many people that weren't really hooked on it until it changed into something completely different. It's just, he just is so good at what he does, and doesn't really, honestly, it feels like he's doing it for himself. He's creating a story that he wants to be told, and it's again, you can't guess what's going to happen next. I would have never guessed that at all. And same thing with Chainsaw Man too. That's what I love about it so much, is I really couldn't know. I didn't know what was going to happen next. I didn't really have an idea.
She's commenting on too many people having the same power.
Yeah. And then it's going to get...
What is this, X-Men?
Yeah. This
is insane.
Yeah, I know.
I have to read this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Volume 1 is the prologue. This is all just set
madness.
To this bizarre
madness.
Insight into this guy as a writer and how he feels about it. This is clearly the stand-in for the author.
Yeah, it could be interpreted that way. It might be.
I mean, they're directing the plot of the. This is fucking insane.
I really liked it though. I like.
X-Men is a great example of variation. Mix it up a little.
He's giving a lesson on how to write manga in volume 2. Would you recommend it to people, Megan, or would you recommend it with just to be warned? It has this and
I wouldn't. If you really like Chainsaw Man, it just depends on the person. I'm not going to recommend this to a friend that I know would never really pick this up or want to continue to read it. It is pretty much person by person. I think I would gauge this. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone just because it's not everyone's cup of tea. I would recommend Chainsaw Man to everyone. That should give you an example of the differences between the two. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, as sickening as it was and how like just graphic and like awful this world was, it really just like put you in it and was just like, I'm glad I'm not there.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's super interesting. It's super complex, and it was fun.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with what you said. I mean, I would definitely recommend this story to people, but you know, certain people, I'm not going to say that everybody's going to like it, and not because it's not a good story, but because of like what it shows and what it covers. So I would, you know, recommend it with a little bit of a warning. It's not Chainsaw Man.
He gets a training montage.
Cody's in another world. It's not Chainsaw Man, so don't go into it expecting anything like Chainsaw Man. But it is a beautiful story, and Fujimoto is an artist, and like whether he sticks the landing or not in Fire Punch, you know, it's clear that this was his road to making such a cool series, and you know, he is who he is, and there's no one else like him, and I'll say that. And I really enjoyed it, although at times, like, I didn't know, like you said, what to expect or where it was going to go, and that aspect of it, like, had me loving it at times and had me kind of, like, hating it at times, but like, the constant back and forth, like, kept me engaged through its entirety, and so, like, at least it's something that I highly suggest, like, just checking out as an experience. And I think it's also beautifully drawn, and there are a lot of beautiful moments in it. And so, because Cody's been having a meltdown, let's end on Cody and his final thoughts
Did you
about
give your
it.
Final thoughts?
Yeah.
You weren't. Yeah, you weren't listening.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys. This guy's just an artist.
Yeah.
I mean, this is. I mean, now it's like, because in Chainsaw Man they do a little bit of jokes where Denji's like, I've always wanted to be smart like those guys in mangas, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's a little meta. This is I've never seen something as meta as this before.
Yeah.
Meta.
Yeah, it's pretty metal and super meta.
Yeah. I mean, you guys probably. I mean, this is.
You guys definitely watching probably get the vibe of how crazy this manga is and will continue to be. I don't even know how many. Yeah, it has 8 volumes in total. So I mean, not too long.
Not too long.
I mean, it has a beginning and an end. Yeah. It's not.
But who's to say volume? You said volume 3 is the same.
I mean, this story continues with her, this director.
The whole thing.
I am not 100% sure if it's the whole thing, but for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, this might be like my favorite.
So this is something that you would recommend to people?
I mean, yeah, on one hand, you get like, a dark, tale of survival and struggle. And then it becomes an exploration on the writing process.
I mean, it feels that way, yeah.
In universe, and you have someone commenting on like rules and things, and it's. I mean, who could have pulled this off? Nobody except Fujimoto. That's who.
You're damn fucking right, dude. Anyway, I mean, that's pretty much it for Volume 1. I know we rambled on about it longer than we usually do, but it's a great series. It's weird. It's out there. It's beautiful, but dark and twisted. But
Fujimoto, more like Fujimeta. Am I right?
Oh, I didn't hate that. Yeah. That was good, Megan.
Thank you.
That was good. But if you want to check it out, I think you should. And I think we all say that you should for different reasons. Just be warned and be careful. But it's a pretty amazing series. And if you've already read it, let us know what you thought about it. And if you do decide to read it based on our review, let us know what you thought about it after you're done reading it. But that's it.
You asked me if I felt there was a reason for like the show people be bad. Because you knew that was a question, that was something he brings up in the volume 2.
What do you mean? Say it again?
Because you're like, so I wanted to know. That's very interesting. Every time you say interesting.
What? You have some ulterior motive?
Yes, because you knew that was something that a character addresses in universe.
Yeah, but
and every time you say the word interesting,
that's not true.
It's a filler word for you.
That's not true. What do you say when you think something is interesting, but you have nothing else to add?
Like a normal person.
Tatsuki Fujimoto, more like toxic Fujimeta.
I mean, he's not toxic, but
this story's pretty toxic.
There's some toxic tales. The toxic tales of Fujimeta. We're getting there.
I guess what you say when you don't know what to say.
That's exactly
Nothing's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, Megan hit it on the head.
Like Ubers and Grinch.
And the Grinch, and you brought up a lot of random stuff.
I saw the Grinch yesterday.
Yeah, I'm channeling my Fujimoto, and I'm just bringing up random points and hoping it all ties in together. And I'm just like creative like that. Like I said in the very beginning of the episode, like it's just hard.
I just go.
Okay.
Just start throwing up everywhere. But Megan, you did bring it all home with the Fuji meta thing. You tied it all up. But I guess there's nothing else to do. I was told that we were gonna have some sort of message or something. Hey, Glowy, didn't you say earlier that you had something that you wanted to show us?
I've compiled a series of moments to best summarize Volume 1 in the year 2020.
Oh shit!
What the hell happened?
I'm sorry.
Megan,
I'm sorry. I got too excited and I spilled my cup all over.
It's all
over her.
Is it still working?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck it. Shut off.
Oh my
Megan.
God. You broke it.
No, Megan, let me see it.
I spilled it. I spilled the water, so it's
fix
my
it.
fault.
I can fix it.
No,
I can fix it.
I changed my mind.
Guys, you're going to break it.
Cody, Cody, you fucking asshole.
It's your fault, too.
It's your fault because you spilled something on it.
You spilled.
It is your fault.
My fault.
You spilled.
You fucking killed her.
Megan, pick it up. Pick it up. It might still be working. Pick it up. Is it working? Glowy, turn on. Glowy, activate. Chloe, access Volume 1 files.
She's fucking dead. She's fucking dead.
Well,
just spill on her.
Well, I did not expect that to happen. It's been a wild ride, and seems like we just got it, and it's dead now.
Gone too soon.
You can ask him to send us another one?
There was no return address on the box. I don't even know who sent it to us, so there's no, Cody. It's to answer your fucking dumb question, there's no way that I can get another one.
Okay, don't take your frustration on the situation out on me. You're right.
I'm sorry, dude.
Okay.
Those clips were pretty cool, though. A lot of good memories.
It's fine.
Megan, it'll be fine. Think about everything that we've done this year, and think about all the cool things that we're going to do next year. There was a time before Glowy, and there will be a time after Glowy. Guys?
What's the point?
Well, I guess that's going to do it for another episode. I really wanted us to go out on a bang and didn't really expect this to happen. It's kind of fitting after all the fucked up shit we saw in Fire Punch, but I guess if there's one thing we learned from today's episode, it's that, sometimes life sucks, but for the most part, life's pretty good. And there will always be, Cody, help me. There will always be new good things, like the new year. No, like the new year, and new manga to review, and new people to share our love of manga with, and if you've been watching and listening, then next year it's gonna be awesome. And there's going to be new things to look forward to and more fun to be had. And even though Megan's really sad right now, I want you guys to know that next year we're coming in hot. And we're coming in ready with or without Glowy. And we're going to have a good year. Because 2020, it was rough. And I don't know if I could do it again. So...
Yeah, I will say, being infected, we won't say by who, but someone infecting us all with the COVID virus, which some people would think is so absurd it borders on like something we made up, even though we all got tested positive and and got it, which I think, out of context, I think is, appropriate, but
yeah.
We won't say who infected me and Megan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for not saying that. And I won't say who gave it to me.
And we'll just have it on the final record, again, that we were infected legitimately.
Okay, what's your point?
Kind of a bummer year.
Okay. Well, 2021 is going to be better. And thank you for being here for all of 2020. And we'll see you next year. And we'll be back and we'll be better than ever. And thank you again for being with us this far. We love you and we appreciate you. And that's the end of this episode. And so I guess we should get out of here on our outro that's always the same and never changes, which today is... Oh, that's pretty fitting, actually, dude. That's really fitting.
Really not gonna be.
No, we can lie, though. It's called...
Say the quote and then... just so people know, so they can say it with us if they really want to say it with us.
Tomorrow's going to be awesome.
You're damn fucking right it is, dude. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing your support and your love. We fucking love you guys. And until next time, tomorrow's gonna be awesome. Okay. It's gonna be fine, Megan. It's gonna be...
It's a big yikes.
No, it's gonna be fine. Let's go get some food and then it'll be fine. Either we fix it or we don't fix it, but it's gonna be fine one way or another.
Can you fix my heart, Josh? Because it's fucking broken.
Time can fix your heart, and maybe chicken nuggets can fix your heart too.
I think someone wants some chicken nuggets.
Let's go. Come on, let's go get some food and let's get your mind off of it. Yeah, there you go. Let's go. Jeez, I just tried to
great episode, Josh.
Yeah, it was great episode. Yeah, you didn't bring up heroin this time.
I wanted to.
Good.
I could, someone will put that.
Hello?